Hi, my name is Dave Williams. I'm a member of Breakthrough Clubhouse in Wichita, Kansas. I've been a member for 4 years, and it's my privilege to talk to you today about how and why Clubhouse works. I'd like to thank you, first of all, for your interest in our program. I understand that this is a type of program that is like other programs in the sense of you can't keep it unless you give it away. And those of you who are in the recovery community will understand what I'm saying. And those of you who work in the medical industry will understand that group participation, personal participation, is what brings goals to the forefront and actually makes progress. And that is what this program is really designed to do. I first became engaged with Clubhouse about 5 years ago. I had spent a couple of weeks in rapid stabilization up in Larned. I'd had an anxiety attack in a public place. I had fallen involved with law enforcement because of it, and they decided that it was time for me to go get an evaluation. I learned a lot in my 2 weeks there. I realized that I wasn't going to be able to get the kind of help and access to services that a lot of people do have, because by and large, I'm really poor. I don't have a lot of the same resources a lot of people do. But I was able to get involved with resources, and those resources pointed to breakthrough for me. And it has been a privilege in my life to share time and experience and work with this organization, because it literally has saved my life. What you need to understand about Clubhouse is we're not like other organizations in the fact that we're not really medical, we're not clinical, but we are a continuum of care. The Clubhouse model is a model that is based on a series of standards that have been produced over time to bring involvement in meaningful work and creating meaningful relationships in something known as social practice. Those of you who are familiar with dialectical behavior therapy will understand that it's really important to build new pathways in the brain in order to gain recovery. And even, the medicine and the therapy does help. But overall, in order to get those two things to engage, you need to be able to socially practice those skills. And this is a wonderful venue for those skills. As far as building new pathways, engaging with people who have common ground. That's the number one thing about coping with mental health issues and the symptoms of those issues, is that there's no common ground in society for people of my sort. There's a huge stigma surrounding mental health issues, and a lot of it is done from miseducation, long-standing beliefs and ideologies. And these are things that we have to stand against. But in order to do that, we first have to defeat that stigma in ourselves. I have a bipolar disorder. I am not bipolar. I cope with the symptoms of a bipolar disorder, but I believe that with help and with time, working through social practice, I can turn liabilities into asset and become bipolarly ordered, if that makes sense to you. And the medication has helped, and some psychiatry and psychology does help, but it's not all the end all do all. When it comes to living a practical life, we have to have practical life experience. And one of the things that Clubhouse does for us is it allows us to engage with people on an equal footing. We don't have to deal with the stigma inside our Clubhouse, because everyone has the same opportunity, regardless of ability. And that's something that we really don't get on the streets. We don't get the opportunity. And what happens is, when you work into this kind of a deal, when you've got so much stress and so much anxiety, you come into a place like a Clubhouse where you have equal footing. You're respected equally, regardless of whatever malfunction or malady that you're facing. What it does is it sets a standard in your life that you are able to let go of preconceived notions about yourself and find that you are worthy to be part of a community. And what this does is this develops self-esteem. And over time, that self-esteem develops purpose. And what has been discovered because of the Clubhouse model and the people that have worked in it for years and years and years is that in order for wellness and recovery in the mental health world to take place, a person must find a purpose. And this is a purpose that's driven primarily through defeating stigma in our lives. And there's just not enough programs. There's 12-step programs, certainly. And I love 12-step meetings. I've been in sobriety and recovery for many, many years. And, even in some of those meetings, they'll tell you, there are people with grave emotional and mental disorders, and as long as they have the capacity to be honest, they can find recovery. And that works with, substance use disorder is a mental health disorder, but that same ideology works with a slew of other mental health disorders. And so Clubhouse gives us that opportunity to work with standards that give us the opportunities that we wouldn't necessarily get. It also gives us resources. This type of Clubhouse, we have resources for business, career development, wellness. These resources can engage us in meaningful work, help us get employed, and also help us develop other standards in our life for wellness. And this is a wonderful thing. Thank you again so much for your interest in our Clubhouse and in this. And I just really, my hope for you moving forward is that you really look into this model and consider it for your community. It will be an asset. Thank you for your time.